It's very clear.
It's better than stop water.
It's very clear.
Water.
No scent, no nothing.
It is the chlorine.
And I'm going to store it to ensure that nothing is
Chicken not
settling.
stirred. Yeah. Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The only thing that's bad is cooking water.
Please stand for the arrival of His Excellency Dr. Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. Just before I introduce His Excellency for the featured or keynote address this afternoon, we have a short video that was curated that I would like everyone to bear witness, including those joining us online. This shows what this water treatment plant looked like before this entire facelift or this entire revamp. And a key thing to note, it's since 1971, right, Mr. Vash, that there was a well here, so it has been serving since 1971. But nevertheless, we treat you to a video. For those who might not be able to see it clearly, it will be on the Guyana Water Incorporated's Facebook page, as well as the Ministry of Housing and Water. So do enjoy this.
The government of Guyana is financing the Coastal Water Treatment Infrastructure Program to increase treated water coverage to 90% by the end of 2025 at a cost of 40 billion Guyana dollars. The Coastal Water Treatment Infrastructure Program is currently constructing 7 new large water treatment plants, 18 small plants, upgrading 12 existing plants, and installing 200 kilometers of transmission mains to improve water quality, continuity of service, and level of service in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The Caledonia water treatment plant is one of 3 new plants constructed in Region 4. This plant is designed to treat 8 million liters of water per day. The site was first developed as a water treatment facility in 1971 with support from USAID. The Caledonia water treatment plant is a state-of-the-art facility which has new and improved methods of iron removal. The plant is fully automated and has standby power generation designed for continuous water supply. GWR contracted Sigma Engineers Limited to build the treatment plant facility at a cost of 700 million Guyana dollars to benefit the residents of surrounding communities.
All right, so there you have it, Caledonia water treatment plant.
In one of the most developed societies in the US, in LA, is an astonishing story that involves water. The entire narrative and discourse on this fire is how was water managed, conserved, reserved, and used in this disaster. For a matter of fact, from all that is being said, a major part of that investigation would be on how the water was managed and utilized. And we sometimes are not aware of our own challenges. But last year, we responded to hundreds of wildfires all across Guyana. At a time when we were going through a long, dry spell. The conditions were exactly the same as you see. A lot of dry vegetation on the ground. And our firefighters, our men and women in uniform, our joint services, responded to hundreds of fires. And I want to thank them because they avoided many disasters in those responses. Many nights we received call right from the East Bank in relation to the proximity of those, we describe them as bushfire, grass fire, to communities. We responded in hinterland communities. At one stage, the crisis was so intense that we sought help from neighboring Brazil to quell the flames in our forests. So, water resource management is not only about treated water and drinking water for the population. It is about ensuring we have availability of water for all of Earth existence, whether it's the trees, the animals, agriculture, and it's about managing water resource in a way that it can meet the requirement of all that is existing in our system, ecosystem. That is why the Guyana Water Inc., as you know it now, in the coming years will change rapidly and will become a national water management entity that not only will look at the management of water through wells or residential use, but that other use reservoirs must be examined. The water resources must be managed in a sustainable way. So the Integrated Water Resource Management Program, which will deal with conservation, reservoirs, integration, a study of our aquifers, all of that will be the transitioning, will be where we're transitioning into in our national water management entity. Part of that is also to ensure that the hydrants, you know, we have a national hydrants program ongoing, are critically integrated into the network plan of GWI so that our response in communities will be supported by the availability of water. Important also is sustainability, and part of the mandate that the management of GWI would have received was to ensure the greater use of fresh water into the water management system. And one important project I think would commence shortly, that is the Hope Canal water treatment facility. We're hoping to have one in Diamond and then in Region 3. Wherever we are dumping fresh water, we are dumping expensive assets. And we have to convert that asset into value. So that is what the future would require of us. Now, this future in terms of water supply and delivery and management is also going to be quite different in the coming months and years ahead of us. Colin spoke about the growing housing development. But it's not only housing development, it is the quality of homes and differences in investment of homes. And this would only get better as the cost of energy is reduced by 50%. Then everyone would want to put a pressure pump on their system, and that pressure pump will pressurize their water system in their homes. They will want heaters. This is just the natural growth of economy and the natural growth of the population and living standards that we cannot avoid. So the less cost of energy also would have not only a positive impact on your operation costs, but it also have impact in terms of use and conservation. That is where education will become very important. Public awareness will become very important. Innovation in agriculture. More and more you will see that young people are going to take to agriculture and food production in a different way. Whether it's hydroponics, whether it's shade houses, you'll have more agro-processing that requires high quality water and high use of water also. And that will be in areas that were traditionally not utilizers of piped water. So that's another area. The expansion of housing, as Colin said, but industrial, commercial expansion, the building of new hotels. I mean, in Temeri, your system would now have to be designed not only to carry the international airport, but to carry an international hotel that will be completed very soon. You have 14 new hotels within close proximity. So you have to have a system that is integrated to ensure that those hotels are adequately supplied. You'll have the new Enmore Industrial and Commercial Development Zone. You have the New Wales Development Authority. You have, look at what is happening in Houston, the expansion of Houston, Eccles, Providence, and as you drive, you see it. The new highway that will connect Soesdijk to Georgetown. We are now going on the third phase to Land of Canaan. All of these things are going to drive up the demand for water. And we therefore must plan carefully how we develop our assets and infrastructure to meet the future needs. So it's not as simplistic as some may want to believe, that you just wake up and decide you're putting a water treatment plant. It has a lot more complexity, a lot more planning and integration that goes behind the scene that allows us to build a system that will last us another. I told Richard walking in here that these plants will have to outlive all of us, right? So that tells you we don't intend to leave soon. So it tells you, gives you an idea of how long we want these plants to, to serve these young children that are here. So when we came back into office in 2020, we came with a very clear vision, and that is how we can reduce the costs of water to the homes, how we can improve quality, how we can expand production, invest in the network, and give people a higher quality of water. And as we came into government, we met a pandemic for almost 2 years, the COVID-19 pandemic. What we did was not only the removal of VAT on these services that was imposed by the last government, the APNU AFC government. I don't know if Ramesh was a member of the board when you imposed that charge on the people.
I had left.
Oh, you had left? Okay. So he said he would have left. It's astonishing. Between past and current ministers of water, you have 4 here. So, so we came and we met this scenario, and we did something that shocked the world. We reduced the cost of water, the tariff, water tariff. Not only did we remove taxes, but we reduced water tariff by 5%. That would have saved consumers more than $260 million annually. And that was in keeping with initiatives to cushion the impact of the pandemic. But we never returned that reduction. We kept that reduction when we came into office up to now, that $260 million that we give back to consumers annually. And guess what? Aubrey, I was shocked that you were part of the management that removed the subsidies that we give pensioners. Aubrey was one of the champions, himself and Marlon and Jailal, who worked with me, and they were very strong. We should give pensioners the subsidy. And as soon as I left office, these guys reintroduced the subsidy. They had no part in that, I can assure you. They were just carrying out policies of the then government. Right, Aubrey? So we were very happy also that we reintroduced the subsidies for pensioners. And sometimes these things are easily forgotten. Easily forgotten. The subsidies that we placed there without oil. With oil under the last government was removed. We came back in office, we reintroduced those subsidies. We invested over $65 billion in the water sector in the last 4 years. We've increased access to the supply of potable water to about 98.3% of the population. And I'm not going to go through all the projects that we have invested in to make this possible. I think between the minister and Sheikh, they would have adequately covered those grounds. But when you listen to the story, sometimes we forget the starting point. And I want to retract a bit and position ourselves back at the starting point in 1992. It's going to be a quick journey. When we came into office in 1992, that is the People's Progressive Party. Every single international report and study pointed to water as a major disaster, pointed to public health issues as a result of what was taking place in the water sector. And Jenny would know that as a health professional, they spent a lot of their time attending to public health issues as a result of no water, poor water supply, and unhealthy delivery of water. In 1992, the government inherited what was described in international reports, a water situation in Guyana that was nothing short of a national disaster. The system was in shambles and collapse or in collapse. That was how the system was described. Right, Richard? Less than 50% of the population had access to safe drinking water. And access, let me pause to say this, was defined differently then as now. Today, access is defined as to your door, to your household, to your premise, and as Richard is rightfully saying, even up the first floor. Access in 1992 was just having the ability to touch water or get water in a cup. The report further said, not only did we have that scenario of less than the 50% of the people having access, but you had something worse. The report said that the infrastructure was in total collapse, with even those having access to water, they were accessing unsafe and unhealthy water because of the leaks and the breakage in the transmission and distribution system. You would recall that people would have walked miles to get water, and the water would be cloudy or muddy. And I remember as a boy, you would take the water and transfer it from one bucket to the other bucket with 3 layers of cloth straining out the mud and then leaving the rest to settle at the bottom of the bucket. That was what it was. The World Bank report in 1993 painted a grim picture of the situation. It stated plainly that the water service levels in Guyana were plagued by great deficiencies. Almost all the pumping stations and distribution networks were either approaching collapse or had already failed. That is the international report. This is after 28 years of government by the PNC, now APNU-AFC. And we had a reminder of failed policy and failed government between 2015 and 2020, when the subsidies were removed, when VAT was added. And we mentioned before, both the chair of the board, Sheikh, and I think Richard, I heard you commented on this, that in 2020, what we found was that the maintenance of the system had completely collapsed. Leakages. The entire system was plagued with leakages. We had to go back and fix all of that transmission system. Preventative maintenance was practically non-existent. We had chronic shortage of spare parts and supplies to fixing anything. That was the World Bank report. This, of course, posed serious health threat. Contaminated water often seep back into the system, threatening and destroying the health system of the country. Those are international reports. Lives of many women and children were spent fetching and storing water in every conceivable container. Citizens had in some cases walked miles just to fetch water, carrying heavy buckets or drums or carts. For most, this was their daily reality. These young children today would grow up in a different environment. They would not have experienced this. And that is what development should be, to avoid successive generations experiencing the failures of the past. And that is what public policy is about. Continuously developing public policy that avoid the pitfalls, shortfalls, and failures of the past in building strong, resilient future. And that is why I started to tell you that this is not the end. I started off this conversation by telling you we know what the challenge is. And we know where the policy must take us. We know what the National Water Authority must look like and what are the challenges. And I want to say that we have one of the most, I would say, qualified young technical team in this region in our water sector. These guys and girls, whether it's in the research department, whether it's in finance, and with strong technical support from some of the experienced folks here, we have built over the years a technical team that, well, I tell them how I feel sometime about what they do, but they are, I can tell you, highly competent, highly competent. We've invested in their training, and Sheikh said we save consultancy if you had to pay consultancy for these projects. That did not happen by accident. When he was minister and I took over, we deliberately embarked on a strategy with the IDB to train all our engineers in project management and to train them, upskill them with master's degree. And we said to the IDB then that we're investing in this, so don't come back and tell us we don't have the capability or competency. Over the years, resource, we have saved billions of dollars from consultancy services. For a matter of fact, I've lived long enough to see many of those who we train left and opened their own consultancy and are working throughout the region. And even those who are threatening to look at business opportunity now, I told them they better hold their horses. This is not the time to shy away from challenge. This is a time to confront and work together as a team in overcoming every challenge and creating this new framework of development. So this was a state of things when the PPP civic government took office. The water supply system wasn't just broken, it was broken down and abandoned. So we started this journey of fixing, prioritizing the investment, and doing so was a monumental task. I said to communities a few days ago, it was not because the engineers lacked the ability that they put the pipeline in the middle of the road, the transmission line, because Sheikh was minister when they did that. But they did not have a choice. We did not have the resources at that time to put the transmission line on both sides of the road. So you had a choice. Either we put it in or we stay without the water. These things were not accidental. These things were as a consequence of the state in which our country was. And let me tell you, many of the distribution lines were there since colonial times. Some of them were asbestos lines. That is what we inherited. Whilst we were dealing with that challenge, the government was also expanding housing rapidly. So you have to fix the existing system to serve the existing consumer, and at the same time, housing was expanding. So you were playing catch up almost all the time. And then we still had to find resource to start the investment in the hinterland communities. And we did all of that at a time when 94% of all our revenue was used to service debt. A debt that was inherited in 1992 after 28 years of failed leadership. All of that we had to accomplish. Just imagine that you go into a home, you got to fix the roof. You go to a one-bedroom home. You got to fix the roof, fix the floor, fix the kitchen. At the same time, 2 additional children come. You got to expand to a one-bedroom, and another bedroom. And then you still have to use 94 cents on every dollar you earn to pay the debt of the one-bedroom home. That was, now magnify that at the national level and at the country level. That is why I think we should applaud all those who worked in this system during that difficult time, all the cabinet members, the leadership. And that is, you know, very few governments can go back to their past records and proudly present it and speak about it. I can go back to our record from 1992 and speak about it very, very proudly. The last government don't even want you to take them back to their most immediate record of 2015 to 2020. They say, forget about that. Let's not talk about that. These are important things, not for us to sleep away on. If we sleep away on these things, we'll be sleeping away on the future. Or we can sleep the problem away, but the impact on the people would be very much away. The impact on the people will be very much awake. So we undertook this task of rebuilding the water sector, and by 2012, we were able to increase access to safe water by more than 80,000 people. We are now continuing that progress to today, where 98.3% of our population have access to water. And we have been able to improve access between 2020 to now in the hinterland from 46% to 91%. That is remarkable. This, of course, came through major investment in water treatment plants, in the inline treatment plants. They did not even talk to you about the hundreds of wells that we are drilling all across the country, the hundreds of wells that we're doing in the hinterland, and all the investments we're making to ensure that the pitfalls of the past are never repeated, and that the system is built to support a future decades ahead of us. I congratulate once again the contractors, the consultant, GWI team, the board, the ministry, and all those who would have facilitated and worked diligently to have this project completed within time, and look forward for the benefits of this project to the people of the East Bank and the people of Guyana. I thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, for your powerful insight. I would actually invite you, ministers of government, as well as members of parliament, for the official unveiling of the plaque. And the board as well, the board of GWI, the chairman of the NDC, both Suzdijk and Caledonia good success, to officially unveil the plaque. At the same time, I will invite Mrs. Akusa McPherson to offer a vote of thanks.
The girl that sang, the little girl that sang, how she got Michigan. No, but wait, don't announce it.
Thank you is such a prayer that cannot be seen or touched. It must be felt by heart. I feel honored and privileged to have the opportunity to pose a vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion. I would like to thank all the honorable guests who have blessed us with their presence. I am also very much thankful to all invited guest speakers. Words are not enough to thank them for committing to be here today. On behalf of the Guyana Water Incorporated and the organizing committee, I convey deep regards and hearty thanks to His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, for gracing us with his presence and delivering deep insights on developments and improvements in the water sector over the years. Words are not enough to express gratitude to Honorable Colin Crowell, Minister of Housing and Water, for his informative and dynamic remarks and his continuous support in the water sector. I am also thankful to GWI's CEO, Mr. Sheikh Bash, for his unwavering support and tangible contribution to today's occasion. My special thanks to the head teachers and students of the Friendship Secondary and Craig Primary Schools for their gracious presence. At this juncture, I would also like to thank the NDC chairperson that is. My sincere thanks to her for the support given at various stages. I would like to acknowledge Sigma Engineers Limited, who contributed towards the construction of this water treatment plant and significantly supported the team in planning today's event. I would also like to thank
that we electrolyze the system and we separate sodium hypochlorite and hydrogen separately, and we use it for disinfection. This is more successful than the previous calcium hypochlorite using, because it creates a lot of clogging and corrosion. So this is one of the best disinfection systems.
What's the total storage capacity?
We have two storage.
And what's the projected demand for this?
Projected demand per day, the current design of the plant is 6.2, but we have said by the fact that the capability to go further than that.
Average day right now, the requirement
6 points.
around 6 points.
Yeah, but peak hour demand will be about 10.
So the storage is just back up.
Yeah,
The storage
peak
because
hour.
we're
Peak hour.
Peak hours, right?
Yeah, peak hour
So when you finish the treatment, it goes directly to storage.
Yeah, goes into storage.
Storage is
Storage.
So everything goes to the system from storage.
Yes.
There is a retention time of 6 hours, sir. So maximum you can hold 6 hours of water.
Right.
This is a redundancy during the peak hours.
And what is the replenishment rate?
We fill it every day.
What was the replenishment rate? If the storage,
If you use it,
is 6 hours,
This means every 6 hours you have to replenish.
No, it's 6 hours is the retention.
Is the storage only for emergency or is storage is continuously supplying the
Continuous supply. So we are producing water, putting it in storage, and supply. It's a continuous process. So like let's say something happens to us, I will maintain very quickly. We still have to water supply. Why there won't be any interruption?
Not necessarily. You don't necessarily have to. No. Because if something goes down when the tank is at half,
Yes.
you have a million liters. No.
The good thing.
That's why I'm saying that I was asking whether they reserve storage. You don't really have a reserve storage. You have an active storage facility that is integrated in the system.
The other thing is that
Yeah, I'm sorry.
you know, filters traditionally use sand. Now we use manganese. Because manganese absorbs the iron fast and better. So now the filters are manganese and silicon.
Yes. And also another thing, sir, with the manganese dioxide, it's a regenerative process because we do a pre-chlorination which regenerates the ammonia. So that means the maintenance time for this tank will be much like longer. So we don't have to replace this media like that often. But they will regenerate the media.
And this is the first time in Guyana that we're using these tanks. These are what we call transfused steel tanks, right? There's a glass layer fused under the steel. That to prevent corrosion of the steel. Right? And these tanks are all glass.
Mold, everything.
Yeah.
It's very clear.
Better than stop water.
It's very clear.
Water.
No scent, no nothing.
It is spelled as the chlorine.
And I'm going to store it to ensure that nothing is
Chicken not
settling.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
The only thing is that is cooking water.
Just take care. Let them through here, sir. So, Ronald, while we walk, keep explaining what we're doing. So, from the contact, go to the definitely the heart. Yeah. And it happens this manganese dioxide is actually ore, it's not coated. So that's 80% reactivity that happens. So and like that is 96% less than the WHO standards. Like WHO standard is 0.3, we are at 0.01. Then 95% more than WHO standards. So that's how we are able to achieve this. From this. We have two storage tanks. Not a storage tank, like as you said, it's an active storage tanks where continuously water is being pumped and it's used for backwash too because we can do the backwash using the same water. And during the backwash, the cleaning of the filters, there is no stoppage of plant. Because it is designed
And the backwash rate is much higher than the normal business about 5 minutes backwash rate. But in order for backwashing also, prior to using backwash water, you have to shower. You didn't blow air. We have a blow air system, right? And the first thing that happens is that you blow air through the system and it scours the bed and the iron gets removed. And the water comes afterwards. But the backwash pumps are very big, large. So we have actually all these tanks. We have 16, 14 tanks. And also for we do the 16 of soil treatment. And what is the control? What do you say you change it so that the green one is right now the red one is like the operator is not really like fully focused or something like alarm starts.
livenation.com.
Best part is not doing what you're supposed to do.
They have to make it
It's also on the app.
so if we have internet connected here, then anywhere in there, anywhere on the world, we can operate that but it's
So once this is on Wi-Fi, you can operate this at
not yes. Unless
see what's going on.
yes, like a head office.
Head office is just monitor. You don't need to drive from here.
But that's the main Wi-Fi here. So then another.
So Elizabeth put it.
Automatic. Everything is automatic. And everything is empty. Have the indication, you can see here fault indication, running indication, and the phase indication.
And safety net. In case something goes wrong with the voltage or something, it's not going to fry the machine. It's going to break the circuit here to prevent voltage damage.
And the DJ system is also automatic. If our power gets cut off, our diesel generator will automatically start.
Left side, so there's a combo with it. And these are our outlets.
The time is 275, we are on 325.
So we have 4 pumps, 4 personal pumps, 2 working standby. So anytime something goes wrong,